Hey Kelly. Okay, so here is my review of Fairest by Gail, Carson, Levine. Um, and I will start off by saying that, as you know, I was really hesitant to read it. Like, I kept putting it off. I could have had, I had two separate 20-hour bus rides where I could have been reading that, but I was reading something else instead. Because I wasn't, if I'm honest, I wasn't looking forward to reading it. And but I will say that I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. So there you go. Um, I mean, yeah, it was definitely better than I thought. It was not super childish, which is what I assume. I mean, all middle grade books are going to be like. It was definitely much better. But I will say there were a couple things that really bothered me about this book. Number one, all the song lyrics that are throughout the entire book. Now I understand that in the context of the book it makes sense, you know, Aortha, I think that's how you say the name where the main character lives. They all sing a lot, but I just started to not even I skimmed over all the song lyrics because I got tired of them. Like I didn't even read them except for a couple of the ones at the end. And I mean, just every now and again I would read one, but most of the time I did not read them. Um, and then let me see. I mean, I think that was there were a couple parts. I even like I was taking notes while I was reading it, so I'd remember specific things. And there were certain parts where a couple times in my notes I wrote this book is really weird or this is creeping me out. There were many occasions, in fact, where I wrote this book is just really weird because there's a moment where Ava, the main character, uses her head as a battering ram, and she even states, "I'm using myself as my head as a battering ram," and I'm thinking, what? The Disney princess Snow White would never use her head as a battering ram. Like it threw me off like a lot, and I hadn't even seen um, the Disney version of Snow White in a really long time. So while I'm reading it, stuff is coming back to me. Like I'm remembering, the Wicked Witch, or not the Wicked Witch. What is she called? I don't even know. See, I don't know. But I remember that there was, the wart nose lady that gave the apple. And anyway, so it was, I don't know. It was weird. Like I liked it, but it was weird because there were moments where I really was really starting to like it, and then something really strange would happen, and I was just like, "What just happened? Like, why did they go to that place?" Because that made it really weird. But it sometimes the weird was enough to hold my attention, as opposed to the kind of weird where it turns you off to something and you were it, which, and that's the kind of weird that would make me not want to finish reading the book. But I did finish it. Um, and let me see if there's anything else to say about the book. Oh, I was definitely intrigued by Ivy. The entire time I was reading the book, though, I read her name as Ivy. I just do stupid stuff like that, and I found out that her name is Ivy, which makes sense. Like poison ivy. Um, ooh, yeah, okay. And then, I mean, I think like my biggest qualm was the song lyrics. I just couldn't deal with it. But one thing that as I was reading it, it becomes clear that there is like a whole moral to the story, and it's the thing about liking yourself just the way you are. And I can to me that's where the middle grade thing is shouting the loudest, is that whole thing about liking yourself the way you are, because middle schoolers, that's what they deal with. I mean, I'm around middle schoolers a lot. I mean, I have one sister that is a middle schooler, and I mean, I get it. Like I understand I understand how this could be categorized as middle grade. um but I mean, the main character is 15 going on 16. So, I mean, I think people older can read it and still enjoy it. And I mean, that's one thing I liked about this, is that I felt I mean, it's not a lesson I really need to learn, but it's good to be reminded of, is, to accept yourself, because if you don't, who else is going to, really? Well, that's not really true. I shouldn't say that. But it's a lesson that everybody has to go through, especially when, you're in middle school or high school or sometimes college. Or maybe when you're grown up. I don't know. Um, but what was that's what I noticed the most anyway, with the whole lesson thing. And because I mean, when I read YA, I don't ever feel like I'm learning a lesson, or maybe it's just the YA that I'm reading, or if there is a lesson, I just don't see it. But to me, it was blatantly obvious in this that there is a lesson to be learned, but it's not like it's not preachy about it. I don't really think it is. But anyway, so there you go. I read the challenge book and I liked it. I won't be reading it again, and I don't think I want to read any more of these books, or by the author maybe. No offense, but it's just not my thing, and that's what people always say when it's not their thing, and when they, yeah. But I mean, I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I branched out. I'm gonna go back into my comfort zone and read. I don't know what I'm gonna read next, but yeah. Okay. So thanks for the challenge, and it was definitely a challenge. Okay. Bye.